Hello, welcome to this training on Guiding Technology's Gains app. Today, I'll be demonstrating features and functionality of the Gains app, which provides assistance when working with a client or consumer. It provides levels of guidance you can choose, it helps with data collection, automatically updates targets, and reminds you when to reinforce. I can access the Gains app by selecting the Gains icon on my tablet or smartphone. The login screen is displayed first when I start the Gains app. Here, I can use my unique username and password to log into the app. Typically, the Gains app will log me out if I have been inactive for a period of time. Here, I can select Remember Me to stay logged in on the device. The first page I see is the Students page. From this page, I can access programs, guidance, and data collection for any students assigned to me. From the Select Location menu at the top, I can also select a location for my session. For this training video, I've selected Home. The BX button is available on every screen, making data collection quick and easy. Here, I'll press the BX button on the panel for Sam, which opens Sam's behavior recording screen. Sam's name is at the top. From this screen, I can collect frequency and duration data or collect ABC event data. When I first open behavior recording, there's no active recording session, so the behavior buttons at the bottom are shaded. If I want to collect frequency and duration data, I first verify that the ABC event box is unchecked, and then click the Start Recording button. Now, there's an active recording session, indicated by the availability of the behavior buttons, the start time shown above the Start Recording button, and the recording time that is increasing above the End Recording button. Now assume Sam engages in self-injurious behavior and bites his hand. To record an instance of hand biting, I can press the large button labeled Biting Self with a plus sign on it. Now the frequency is increased from 0 to 1. The frequency count will increase with each press of the Biting Self plus sign button. Assume Sam is also screaming. I can record duration too. To record duration for screaming, I click the triangle play button on the panel for screaming. Pressing this button changes the button to a square stop button and starts adding seconds to the duration recording. It also adds an instance of screaming to the frequency count. To stop recording duration, I can press that square stop button. I'll now begin recording duration for another instance of screaming by pressing its play button. This adds another instance to the frequency count for screaming and restarts the duration time. Although this has restarted the duration time, the previously collected duration data are saved to the previous instance. While collecting duration data on screaming, I can also record an instance of Biting Self by clicking that plus button. I can also record duration for flopping by clicking the triangle play button on its panel. To stop recording duration for both behaviors, I can simply press the square stop button for each behavior, which will stop counting the duration for those behaviors. If I happen to press the wrong button, I also can remove those data from my recordings. For example, if I accidentally add an instance to Biting Others, I can remove that instance by pressing the minus button on its panel, which removes 1 from the frequency count. Similarly, if I record duration for flopping but need to remove that instance and duration, I can press the minus button. This removes the most recent count and duration for flopping. If Sam engages in a problem behavior that I want to collect data on, but that isn't available on the behavior recording page, I can add that behavior on the Manage tab. Tabs are shown by the student's name at the top of the screen. I can click on the Manage label or swipe to move to the Manage screen. Here, I can click Add New Behavior to add this behavior. On this screen, I can enter a name for this behavior, such as kicking others, and then type in its description. After entering the name and description, I also have options at the bottom of the screen to indicate if I want this behavior to show up for ABC recording, frequency and duration recording, both, or neither. Here, I'll click the keyboard checkmark to shrink my keyboard. I want this behavior to show up only for frequency and duration recording, so I'll make sure the checkbox for frequency and duration recording is checked, and the box for ABC recording is not checked. Then I click Save to make this behavior available for frequency and duration recording, and return to my Manage Behaviors page. Clicking on the Record tab, I can see that this behavior is available for frequency and recording data collection. Plus, When I go back to the Manage Behavior tab, I also see this behavior is tagged FXD next to the small red dot, indicating it's only available during frequency and duration recording. To collect ABC data, or antecedent behavior consequence data, I'll need to press the End Recording button and end this session. I can check the box now under ABC Event to start ABC data collection, and then click the Start ABC Event button to begin a behavior recording. Now I have an A button for antecedents and a C button for consequences next to Start ABC Event. Behaviors are shown below. Assume Sam starts screaming when Mom leaves. I can press the play button on the screaming panel to record that duration. I also record the antecedent by pressing the A button and selecting Mom leaves from the available antecedents, and then click the small X to return to the ABC event recording page. Assuming the consequence is Mom returns and asks what's wrong, I can press the C button and record this consequence of Mom attention, then click the small X to return to the ABC event recording page. If Sam has now stopped screaming, I can press the square stop button on the screaming panel to stop recording duration. I then press the End ABC Event button to end that ABC event. To record another ABC event, I can press the Start ABC Event button to start collecting data for the next event. This time, assume Sam bites his hand when the babysitter takes the iPad. I press the Bite Self Plus button. Then I can press the A button to select the antecedent and close the menu with the X. Assuming the consequences were that the babysitter reprimanded and provided the iPad, I press the C button to select. However, reprimand is not available, so I can press the Add New Consequence button and enter a name and description for this new consequence. I can follow the same process to add new antecedents. After adding the name and description, I can press the Save button to add it to Sam's list of consequences. Now, I can press the C button and select my new consequence, reprimand, and then click X. Note that I forgot to add that the iPad was provided, so I can press the C button again to add that consequence too. Finally, to end this ABC event, I can click the End ABC Event button. Even if I am not recording an ABC event, I can add antecedents and consequences from the Manage tab. I can click on the Manage label at the upper right or swipe to move to the Manage screen. Here, I see my list of target behaviors. Then, I can press either the Antecedents or Consequences buttons directly below Sam's name in the tabs. After selecting Antecedents or Consequences, I see my list, and I can click the Add New Antecedents or Add New Consequences button. On this screen, I can enter a name and description, and then click Save to make this new antecedent available for ABC data collection. Now I have returned to the antecedent section of my Manage page where I see the new antecedent I just created. I can also add a comment about behavior recording by moving to the Comments tab and then clicking Add Comment. Here there's space to add a title and the comment itself. I will type in the comment title and then enter the details. This comment and its details will be available on the behavior recording screen for any instructors and supervisors assigned to SAM. After I enter the text for my comment, I can click the Save button to make this comment available. Clicking the Save button will also return me to the comment screen where I will see my new comment. If I need help with any parts of behavior recording, Clicking the question mark in the circle at the upper right launches instructions with screenshots detailing various functions and providing additional help for how to use the behavior recording functionality. Next, I'll view the programs that are available for SAM. I can click the Trial-Based button on SAM's panel to see Discrete Trial Teaching, or DTT, and Task Analysis, or TA programs. The names of the programs are shown on the left under Program. The blue tag at the upper right of each program shows whether it's a DTT or TA. In the center, under the target label, the name of the target I'll be teaching is shown on the button. Green buttons indicate that I can make progress towards mastery for that target. Orange buttons show targets where progress in the session won't count towards mastery criteria, typically because progress is needed on another day or from another instructor. To the right of the target button, under Last, I can see the last time a target was run, or if it's new. I can click the Info button, shown as a circle with an eye in it, to the right of the last column to see details such as the mastery criteria, prompt level, and who last ran the target or program. The comments icon is on the far right. I can click on the comments icon to bring up any comments for that program or instructions on how to leave a comment. A green dot on the comments icon shows if there are new comments I haven't read yet. Within the comments list, unread comments are highlighted green. Once I have clicked on the comments icon and viewed those comments, the green dot and highlighting disappear until another team member leaves a new comment. The green dot and highlighting only show up for comments left by another team member, not comments that I add myself. On the Programs page, there are 3 tabs, Unmastered, Mastered, and All. I can click on a tab to see the programs in that category, or I can swipe amongst categories. Now, I'll return to my unmastered list to run a TA program. I'll start by opening my Putting on Glasses TA. On the green button, I see that Bring Glasses to Face is the target step. The program setup is given first. Here I can press Next to start teaching. For each step, I'll be given the number of the step and the prompt level. If a step is the target step for teaching, that is shown by the word target at the beginning of the guidance. Here, the first step is touch glasses. You'd give Sam the SD and say, Sam, put on glasses, and wait 3 to 5 seconds to see if Sam touches the glasses by himself. In this case, I'll assume Sam does correctly touch the glasses independently, and I'll select the plus button on the left. I can press anywhere in that large button to record a response. Since the first step was done correctly, Gaines gives guidance for the next step, pick up glasses. Assume Sam does not do this independently. Select the incorrect button on the right with a minus sign. The step stays the same, pick up glasses, but the prompt level changes to gesture. Assuming Sam does not complete the step with a gestural prompt, I press minus again, which moves to the next prompt level, model. In Gaines TAs, recording incorrect responses can increase the prompt level until a correct response is recorded. If I record another incorrect response, the prompt level moves to physical. I'll now select the plus button, which brings up the next step, Bring Glasses to Face. The word target before this step shows that this is the target step. For this step, I'll select the plus button, which moves to the next step, Position Glasses on face. Here, I will again select plus. This TA has 4 steps, and I've now completed all 4 steps, so the TA attempt ends. Gaines asks if I would like to leave a comment, and I'll select no for now. Mastery was set to only 1 correct attempt at the target step for this TA, so the prompt level for the target step will change. Let's take a look. For this attempt, I'll assume that Sam completes every step correctly. We'll press plus for touch glasses and pick up glasses. Now, for Bring Glasses to Face, we see that the prompt level has moved to independent from gesture. So I would allow Sam to bring his glasses to his face independently. Assuming he completes this step correctly, I also record a correct. Finally, I also press plus for Position Glasses on Face, the final step. I've now completed all 4 steps again. This time I will add a comment about Sam's progress. After I'm done typing, I can just click Save to submit my comment. Now, Gaines returns to the Programs and Targets page. For this TA, Mastery was set to only 1 correct attempt at the target, so the target step moves to the next step, Position Glasses on Face. And when I click on comments for this program, I see the comment I just added. Now we'll run a DTT program. We'll run the stomp feet target from the gross motor imitation program, which was last run today. I'll click on the green button labeled Stomp Feet to start. The program setup is given first, and I can press Next when I'm ready to start trials. The information will be displayed on the screen as text, and I have the option to turn on spoken guidance by turning on speaking in the menu bar.
Set up, position yourself to look directly at Sam. Press Next to continue. 1. Gesture, stomp feet. Say, Sam, do this and stomp your feet. Point to Sam's feet.
Each trial or step has text and optional spoken guidance. If I don't need audio guidance for a program, I can turn it off by clicking the speaking button from the menu at the top. For each trial, the guidance includes the number of the trial and the prompt level. Guidance for the first trial tells me to stomp my foot and then gesture to Sam's foot to help him stomp. Assuming Sam performs this target behavior correctly with the gestural prompt, I will press the plus button to record a correct response. I can press anywhere in the large button to record that response. Once I press plus, I move to the next trial. Now assume Sam performs the target behavior correctly with this gestural prompt one more time. I press the plus button to record another correct response. Gaines moves to the next trial. Because Sam responded correctly twice with a gestural prompt, the prompt level also changes to independent for this trial. The menu bar has other helpful information. The number 2 to the right of the exit button shows the number of trials I have run, which is the number to the left of the slash. To the right of the slash, I have the percent of trials counting toward the mastery criteria, which is currently 0%. Because my first 2 trials were conducted with a gestural prompt, they do not count towards mastery. Now, however, if Sam responds correctly on this independent level trial, and I record a plus, this trial will count towards Sam's mastery criteria, and the number to the right of the slash increases to 10%. With DTT programs, the prompt level changes across trials based on the supervisor's specifications. In this program, if I press the red minus button to record 2 incorrect responses with the independent prompt, the prompt guidance moves back to a gestural prompt. And with 2 more incorrects, the prompt level moves to partial physical. However, if the next 2 responses are recorded as correct, the prompt level moves back to gestural. The number of trials per trial set is set by the supervisor. For this program, there are 10 trials per trial set. After completing 10 trials, Gaines automatically sends the data to the server and provides an option to comment. Next, we'll run Touch Head, a new DTT imitation target that hasn't been run before. DTT targets can have baselines, like this imitation program. Here, I see the baseline setup for Touch Head, and then click Next to start baseline trials. This is the first trial of baseline where the target response is specified. Let's record a correct response. Now, at the top, I see one trial was conducted and Sam is 33% of the way towards mastery at baseline. I'll now record 2 additional correct baseline trials. Because Sam met the baseline mastery criteria of 3 correct trials, the trial data were submitted and I have the opportunity to comment. I click No to leave a comment, which returns us to the Unmastered tab of the Programs and Targets page. Our target, Touch Head, has been replaced by the target Tap Knee automatically. If I swipe or click to the Mastered tab, I can see that our target, Touch Head, was automatically mastered because Sam met the baseline mastery criteria. Next, we'll try running the new target, Tap Knee, by clicking on its green button. First, I see the baseline setup for Tap Knee and click Next to start the baseline trials. This is the first trial of baseline where the target response is specified. Here, let's record an incorrect response. Gaines now moves automatically to acquisition trials as soon as the baseline mastery criteria can no longer be met. Because the baseline criteria for these targets require 100% correct across 3 trials, a single incorrect response moved us to the acquisition. Now I can begin teaching trials for TAP knee. The menu bar, shown on program pages, has buttons to help me navigate gains. For example, the Exit button at the far left will exit guidance and submit my data. Note that here I'm beginning trial 6. I click Exit. Now, if I open up the program later in the session, the program will typically start a new trial block over. Here I have setup, and now I'm restarting on trial 1. If I plan to continue working on the program later, the Pin button leaves the program but maintains my progress so I can access it later in the session. After clicking Pin, the next time I click the target, it will pick up on the target or step where I stopped last time. This program will also be listed on the active program pages, which I will review soon. The BX button opens the behavior recording page to make data collection quick and easy. The BX button is available on every page, and a green BX button means a behavior recording session is already in progress. After clicking on BX, I can collect data on target behaviors. When I open behavior recording, my program is still running in the background, so I can click the back arrow to easily resume the most recent target or step. The button opens the behavior guidance page where I can find TAs specifically to guide instructors and caregivers when responding to a client or consumer, such as when managing problem behavior. I'll review this feature separately. Next, the Undo button allows me to undo my most recent button press. For example, if I press the red minus to record an incorrect response, but Sam actually responded correctly, I can press the Undo button to remove that press. Now I can enter that correct response. The speaking or muted person icon can be pressed to turn on or off the spoken guidance for that program.
3. Independent tap knee. Say, Sam, do this and tap your knee twice. Let Sam do without assistance.
Now I've turned the spoken guidance off. Future button presses won't produce spoken guidance. Finally, if I'm on any prompt level other than the least intrusive prompt, for example, here I'm on a partial physical, I can click the Skip to Least button to move to the least intrusive prompt, which is independent here. I can click the Time-Based button on Sam's panel to see frequency and interval recording programs. The names of the programs are shown on the button on the left side of the screen. Green buttons indicate I can make progress towards mastery for that target. Orange buttons would show targets where progress in this session won't count towards mastery criteria. Immediately to the right of the target button, the first time shows the total time period for a recording program. The next column shows either a time or no interval. For interval programs, this time is the interval time, whereas frequency programs show no interval. I can click the Info button, shown as a circle with an eye in it to the right of the last column, to see details such as the program duration, interval duration, and mastery criteria. The Comments icon is on the far right. A green dot on the Comments icon shows if there are new comments that I haven't read yet. Clicking on the Comments icon brings up any comments that have been recorded for that program. First, we'll view an interval recording program, Peer Play. This program has 10 intervals divided across 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Clicking on the Info button, I see that mastery criteria are 80% of intervals with a target across 3 sessions. I click on the Program button to launch the program, which starts with a description page showing the total time, interval time, and how many responses I can record per interval. I click Next to start the time-based program. When the program begins, the interval counter and the time left are shown in the center of the screen. For this program, I am on 1 of 10 intervals. The responses I can record for this program are shown in the large buttons on the screen. I can click anywhere in a large button to record a response for that interval. When I touch a button to record a response, the count shown above the response name increases and my selection will be highlighted. Here I have selected Peer Play, which is highlighted gold because it is the target response for this program. The change of each interval is shown on the screen and also signaled via audio with a ding. During the next interval, I can select the other response, independent play. This button is highlighted green because it's not targeted for mastery. Even if I selected independent play, I may need to change my selection. Within the interval, I can press the other response button, peer play, to change the response for that interval, or I can press the undo button from the menu to remove my response for that interval. If no response occurs in an interval, I can simply let that interval end without a response. After an interval has ended, I cannot record a response for that interval. I also have the option to pause this program by clicking the pause button. Pressing pause stops my timer. To return to the interval recording program, I just press the resume button. This returns me to my recording page and restarts the timer just for the current interval. The BG button opens behavior guidance so I can access programs for managing behavior. The BX button launches the behavior recording page so I can collect frequency and duration data. Note the time left in this interval. Now I'll click on the BX button, collect data on an instance of Biting Self, and then press the back button to return to my interval recording program. Note that this program has continued running in the background and the interval now has less time remaining. I also have the option to pin interval recording programs by clicking the pin button. After pinning, I can press the back arrow to return to the students page and then press the Active Programs button on the bottom right. Opening up SAM's Active Programs, I can see that this interval program is still running and the time is counting down. I can open it here to record a response and then press pin to return to my Active Programs page where it continues counting down. Next, we'll run a frequency recording program, Manding. This program has a duration of 5 minutes and no intervals. Clicking on the Info button, I see that there are no mastery criteria for this program. I click on the Program button to launch the program, which starts with a description page showing the total program duration and general program guidelines. I click Next to start the time-based program. When the program begins, the name and the time left are shown in the center of the screen. The responses I can record for this program are shown in the large buttons. I can click anywhere in one of the buttons to record a response. When I touch a button to record a response, the count shown above the response name increases and my selection will be highlighted green because there are no mastery criteria for this program. Every click to a button will increase the count for that response. I can press the undo button from the menu to remove my most recent press and change the count for that response. I also have the option to pause this program by clicking the pause button. Pressing pause stops my timer. To return to the frequency recording program, I just press the resume button. This returns me to my recording page and the timer continues counting down the time. The BG button opens behavior guidance so I can access programs for managing behavior. The BX button launches behavior recording so I can collect frequency and duration data. Note the time left in this program. Now I'll click on the BX button, collect data, and then press the back button to return to my frequency recording program. Note the time change. This program is continued running in the background. I also do have the option to pin this frequency recording program to active programs. It will continue running in the background. I pin this program by clicking the pin button, and then can see it on the active programs page. Finally, I can press exit to end the program before the time is finished. The Active Programs button is always available at the bottom right of the Students page. Clicking this button opens the Active Programs page. On the Active Programs page, any student with active programs will be listed. On my screen, I see my student Sam. To see Sam's active programs, I can click the drop-down arrow to the right of his name. Now, the number of active programs for behavior guidance, trial-based, and time-based programs are shown. Sam has only one active trial-based program. Clicking the down arrow to the right of the trial-based tab shows the name of the target, the completed trials to the left of the slash, and the percentage counting toward the mastery criteria for that program to the right of the slash. I can click the blue Open button to access this program, record a response, and then press Pin to return to the Active Programs page. From the Active Programs page, to access SAM's programs and target pages, I can press the blue Time-Based or Trial-Based buttons. I will start another trial-based program. Here, I click Next to progress through setup and then record a response. I press Pen and return to my last page, the Trial-Based Programs and Targets page. Pressing back returns me to the Active Programs page, where I now see 2 active trial-based programs. I can also open a time-based program by pressing the blue Time-Based button from the Active Programs page and then starting SAM's frequency program. I again click Next to progress through the program information and record a response for the first interval. Now I press Pen to add this to the active programs and return to the time-based programs and targets page. I'll also open up SAM's interval recording program and then press Next to proceed through the program information. I can also pin this program by pressing the Pin button. I then press back to return to the active programs page. From the active programs page, I now see that SAM has 2 active time-based programs. Pressing the down arrow shows the 2 time-based programs. For the interval recording program, the number to the left of the slash shows the intervals completed, and the number to the right of the slash shows the total intervals. The time after the colon shows the remaining time in the current interval. For frequency programs, the number just shows the time remaining in the program, with minutes to the left of the colon and seconds to the right of the colon. If a time-based program ends while penned, the data will be saved and submitted automatically. From the Active Programs page, I can easily access these active programs. I can open a program, record a response, and then press Pen to return to the active programs, where I can open another program, press a button to record a response, and then press Pen to again return to that Active Programs page. From this page, I can also press the BX button to access behavior recording and record a target behavior. And then I can also press the BG button to access the behavior guidance page. The Active Programs page lists any pinned active programs. The last active bar will immediately take me to just the most recent program or behavior recording page. Clicking this button now takes me to SAM's imitation program, my most recent active program for SAM. Now I can pin that program and open SAM's behavior recording from the Active Programs page. Here I record an instance of hitting, then press back. Now, when I open SAM's last active program from the bar, I open that behavior recording session. At any time during a session, I can start a session note. In Gains, a session can be started by clicking the Session button with the note icon by the student's name on either the Students page or the Active Programs page. From this menu, I can then click Start Session. Alternatively, a session for a student will start automatically when the first program is begun. Session notes can be accessed by clicking that Session button with the note icon by the student's name on either the Students page or the Active Programs page. After clicking the Session button, a menu will appear. Once a session has been started, this menu will have options so that I can modify a session note, view previous session notes, or cancel a session note. I want to create a session note, so I click Modify Session Note. On the next screen, I see the draft of my session note. Each note already includes the client's name, my name, and the date. This information cannot be edited. The session start and end times are also included, but I can edit these times by clicking the pencil icon and then selecting a time. Next to Select Template, I can select the template to use for the organization. Some organizations may only have one. Session notes can have a few different ways of adding information. If I click into some boxes, a drop-down lists information that is available to select. For GPS location, I can just press Get Location to record the session location. For session codes, I can press in the text box to see available codes and then touch to select the one I need. I can also add a comma and then select another code if needed. Information can be grouped into different categories. To add information within a category, I can just press the drop-down arrow. Some boxes will have lists from which I can select. Text above the box tells me if I can select one or more than one item. In this box, for example, I can select more than one, and I might select reinforcement and DRA. I also have the option to copy selected options. If I copy these items, I can press and hold in a text box to paste and then type my own notes. Program data and behavior data fields can be automatically filled using data from that day's session by ensuring the programs to include are highlighted green and then clicking the Clear and Autofill button. I can also add text to these boxes, but note that if I click Clear and Autofill again, anything added to the box will be replaced. There are also signature fields where I can type in my name and then sign using my finger or a stylus on the touchscreen. I can start a session note at any time and then leave the session note page to use the app guidance and collect additional data. When I return, what I added to the session note is still available. Finally, when a session note is complete, I must click the Finalize and Submit button. I have to click this button to save the session note. Once a note is submitted, it cannot be edited. Finally, I can click Previous Session Notes to view other session notes for the students that have been created by myself and other team members. After clicking this button, the Session button, previous notes will be shown and sorted by date. I can press View Full Note to open a PDF version of the previous session note in the Gains app. After reading or reviewing the note, I can press the back arrow. If I click Cancel Session Note, this ends my current session. If I cancel a session, I will not be able to add the data I collected during that previous session to my session note. I can access the app's settings by pressing the gear icon at the top right. I'll press that gear icon and open the settings now. First, I'll review the display menu during guidance setting. During our training, I've had this setting on, so the menu bar at the top is visible with buttons I can easily access. Let's take a look at this menu by launching a trial-based program. Here, this bar at the top is the menu bar, where I have buttons I can press to access app features. Now, let's press back and then open up our settings menu again. I'll change the display menu during guidance setting to off by tapping this toggle switch to turn it to the gray off position. Then I can press the Save button at the upper right corner to save this setting. Now I can reopen the trial-based program for SAM. Note that the gray menu bar at the top is gone. Now, to access those buttons, I must press and hold the space between the two response buttons until the menu appears. Now I can access the same buttons as those on the menu bar at the top. To exit this menu screen and continue with the program, I just click Exit Menu. Alternatively, I could click Pin to pin this program, which returns me to the Active Programs page. Now I'll press back and then the gear icon to review another setting, the display buttons for all prompts setting, which is set to off. Let's take a look at that TA program for SAM. Note that I have two buttons marked plus and minus to record responses for this TA. If I press plus, I move to the next step. If I press minus, additional prompt levels are shown until I hit the plus sign. I'll now go back to the gear to change the setting for display buttons for all prompts to on by tapping this toggle switch to turn it to the blue on position. Then I press the Save button at the upper right corner to save this setting. Let's open up that TA program again. Here, instead of plus and minus for correct and incorrect, I see a button for every prompt level available for this TA. Also note that even though I have the menu guidance for this step, which is an independent prompt level, I can record whichever prompt was used, which moves to the next TA step. Note, however, that on steps with more intrusive prompt levels, the less intrusive prompts are shaded and unavailable. Here, that means that only the full physical prompt is available. Also note that for the TA with display buttons for all prompts set to on, the menu will be displayed, even though the display menu during guidance was set to off. We can also view a discrete trial program. Here, I see that the menu is not shown, consistent with our display menu during guidance being set to off. Unlike the TA, where Gaines provided the different prompt level buttons, each discrete trial has only one prompt level, so the display buttons for all prompt setting does not change this DTT program. Now, I'll press Pin and press back to access the Students page, and then press the gear button to access settings to review Give Correction. Currently, the Give Correction setting is set to On. Let's see what this looks like in a DTT program. With Give Correction set to On, when I press the minus button to record an incorrect response, Gaines instructs me to give correction prior to the next trial. I'll hold down the center panel and then press Pen. Now let's press back and then return to the settings menu by pressing the gear button. Here, I'll press the toggle switch next to Give Correction to flip it to the gray off position. Now I click Save to return to the Students page, where I can open another DTT program for Sam. Now when I record an incorrect response by pressing the minus button, there is no instruction to give correction. I have the option to turn on or off vocal guidance for each program from the guidance menu, shown here.
2. Independent. Raise your foot. Say, Sam, do this and raise your foot. Let Sam do without assistance.
I can also turn text-to-speech on or off for all programs from the settings menu. I'll pin this program, press back, and then press the gear to access the settings. Here I see the text-to-speech setting. I can flip this to the blue on position, turning text-to-speech to on. Then I click Save and return to the Students page, where I can open the last active program, which was that DTT program. When I open up this program, the default is now that spoken guidance is played through the headphones, though I can turn off the spoken guidance from the menu bar, just like I turned it on before by pressing the mute button.
2. Independent. Raise your foot. Say, Sam, do this and raise your foot. Let Sam do without assistance.
Now, we'll pin this program and take a look at our next setting by navigating to the Students page and then pressing the gear icon. Here we see the guidance type setting, which determines the amount of text displayed on screen and spoken through text-to-speech. This setting is currently on detailed guidance, which provides more instruction. I can see this detailed guidance by pressing back and then opening our DTT program. Note that for this trial, I see the target prompt level and how I can use this prompt level. I can see similar levels of guidance for other prompt levels for this target. Now I can pin this program and return to our settings menu by pressing back and then the gear icon. On the settings menu, I'll select Brief next to guidance type and then click Save. Now, when I open another DTT target and click through Setup, I see only the target and prompt level, which is much briefer. Now, returning to my settings menu, you'll see that I can turn on practice mode. Practice mode allows me to review and practice programs, but practice mode will not graph data and will not save or update progress for my student. Here I'll press the toggle switch next to practice mode to flip it to the blue on position, turning practice mode on. Note the warning underneath the practice mode setting. Then I'll click Save and return to my Students page. Note that practice mode has ended my active behavior recording session. Now I can see practice mode in action. Let's open a new DTT target, Touch Tummy, with a 3-trial baseline requiring 100% correct. I press the correct plus sign 3 times to master this target at baseline. the touch tummy target remains in the active list rather than being moved to mastered because progress and data are not saved when in practice mode. Returning to settings, the final setting that we'll discuss today is the volume control setting. This allows me to control volume within Gains instead of using the physical volume control button on my tablet or headphones. Here, I can click the blue dot and drag it to the left to decrease volume or to the right to increase volume. Once I have adjusted to the volume I need, I just click Save from the upper right to use this volume level throughout Gains, including for spoken guidance and interval timers. If I need to access something else on the tablet, for example an image search or a video, my active programs will remain active until I return. Let's take a look.
Reinforce. 5. I. Raise foot.
From the Students page, I can also log out by clicking the Logout button at the upper left, so someone else can use Gains on this device. If I log out without ending all of my open programs or behavior recording sessions, Gains cannot save those data. To save the data, it is important to open all pinned active programs and either end them or exit them. It is also important to manually end behavior recording sessions. Data will also not be submitted and saved if Gains logs me out due to inactivity. It is critical to exit programs and end behavior recording sessions. For time-based and trial-based programs, I can open each program on the Active Programs page and click the Exit button, which submits the data for that program. Alternatively, I can just complete the entire trial set or all steps for that program, which also submits the data. For behavior recording sessions, I can open up the session and click End Recording. Once all programs and recordings are ended, I can safely log out of the app. In the Gains app, the BG button launches real-time behavior guidance to assist instructors and caregivers with responding to and managing client and consumer behavior, especially problem behavior. The BG button can be found on each student's panel on the main Students page and can also be accessed from any program page for a given student. Clicking the BG button opens a page containing task analyses designed specifically to provide guidance for instructors and caregivers. For example, here we see Sam's behavior guidance page with a BG program to guide instructors and caregivers when dealing with Sam's property destruction after a task or instruction. In the columns on this page, we see that this program was last run today. A comments button on this page also loads any comments specific to this behavior guidance program. Clicking on the green button opens the program guidance, which opens with the first step to address the problem behavior. After doing a step, I can press anywhere in the green Next button to advance to the next step. If I need additional support with a step, I can press anywhere in the red Help button, which provides more instruction details. Once I am able to complete the step with the available details, I can press the green Next button. The final step of the guidance has an option to end instead of advancing to the next step. Clicking End submits the behavior guidance data and provides an option to comment. Clicking No returns me to the BG page, where I can access this and any other available BG programs for SAM.